Hello, lovelies. It's Nightmare back again to start out the season of Disney month with the obvious question. You have booked your you're thinking about booking a Disney trip. You have everything set in motion except for one very big detail. When to go. Now, a lot of parents, can't go during certain times of year. Some people can't go during certain times of year. So, I'm going to talk about every month to when to expect crowds, when you are not going to see much of crowds, and pretty much everything to avoid, standing in long lines, feeling miserable, and just pretty much tasting what the other person smells like. Yeah, yeah, we're going to go in that deep. So, this is of course gonna be, you know, all about that lovely stuff. Starting with, we're not going to do the seasons that Disney operates, which would be like all over the place because there's three peak seasons, there's two value seasons, and right in the middle of all that is a spring season and a fall season. So we're going to go month by month by month to talk about which holidays are going on and should you avoid it. So, let's begin, shall we? So, January is an interesting month because you're coming off right after Christmas. But don't think you're getting off so easily. The first week of January tends to be busier than the rest of January because, the remnants, so I like to call them, of the Christmas crowd. So they usually stay for like all the way up until New Year's, and then they maybe stay for an extra couple of days, and then everything starts slowly getting back to normal. Until, of course, Martin Luther King Day weekend, where, parents are trying to, fit in a little mini vacation if they couldn't take their kids during the holidays and all that. So, to avoid that, just don't go during the first couple of days of January. Don't go Martin Luther King Day weekend. You'll probably be good to go, but bear warn you, I have been told that, well, January and February tends to be park refurbishing months. Is when a lot of rides are closed down to get either, an extra coat, a new coat of paint, not an extra coat. They could be putting more interactive venue queues in. I almost said venues, and a lot of stuff like that. So if you are planning on going in January and February, please remember this because you know you may say, oh well, I want to go on Pirates Caribbean and it's closed. That's six or something like that. Sometimes they close down Splash Mountain during this time too. This is all just prep up, you know, for spring break. So this is like the time Disney tends to try to catch its breath right after the holidays, saying, okay, we gotta do this, we gotta make sure everything's nice and good. So keep that in mind in January. Otherwise, yeah, otherwise you're pretty much good to go. Just avoid, of course, the first couple of days up until, when the kids start going back to school, after a holiday break, and Martin Luther King Day weekend. So February is an interesting month. First half of the month up till Valentine's Day, it's very peaceful, tranquil. You're just taking sights. It's kind of chilly. You may want, not want to do much. But then after in the middle of February, of course there really isn't a middle of February. The last, I guess you can call it the middle because it is the third week of February. There are a lot of kids that are gonna be there because it's their winter break. So try to avoid that week if you may, if you can. You also have to consider that the Princess Marathons are also going on at that time, so you may want to avoid that weekend as well. Disney changes it up every year, so it may not be the same weekend every year, but it usually is always in February, so try to avoid that weekend if you want, if you can. And also the same thing goes with February, with January, that, rides may be closed due to refurbishing. So check up on what you need. If your favorite ride is closed, you may want to maybe push it down, or maybe won't have it until next year. But other than that, it's a slow month. It's a cold month. It's very cold. It's cold if you're like used to the nice hot warmness of, Florida weather. But if you want, tranquil before the spring breakers shows up, February is probably your month to go. March. Oh boy. Now, March is very, very, very difficult to pinpoint because first couple of weeks, again, it's very tranquil, but then you got college spring breakers having their spring break around that time. Then you also have schools that, while they won't have a winter vacation, their February vacation, they'll probably have a late March vacation. So if you wanting to go, try going as early as you can in March, to avoid all that line, because you're not going to be happy if you're gonna have to do that. But other than that, March is a good time. Not much is going on in March, so you're probably going to be safe on that part. April is pretty much the same as March. This is when a lot of kids are going to be on spring break, and it can be any time in April. So avoid April if you can. April is probably your worst time to go because the garden festival, the Flower Garden Festival at Epcot is starting up. You also have Star Wars Weekend starting up. And then you also have, the contention of college spring breakers and, kids who are who have spring break for school in April. So it's very, very busy. So if you can, avoid April at all costs. You're not doing yourself any favors if you're gonna go in April. So it's just you don't want to. You just don't. May, on the other hand, starts off very slow. No, you still have flower and garden going on. In Epcot, you also have, Star Wars weekends still going on, so avoid the weekends because that's when everyone is gonna go to those two parks. But up until about the last 2 weeks of May, things are gonna be serene, they're gonna be quiet, and then people are, some schools start getting out around that time, so you're going to want to avoid the last 2 weeks because of that and Memorial Day weekend. And this is also typically when Disney usually do their summer kickoff with the 24-hour event, so there's gonna be some congestion at Magic Kingdom, so try going as early as you can in May. Try going during the weekdays. If you can do a 5-day, 4-night park stay with park hopper option, probably your best bet to do during the weekdays. So to avoid the crowd, especially if you have young children. And that's pretty much, it's really, typical like that. You just try to go on the weekdays if you can. If you can't, well, yeah. I'm sorry. It's just like all the months are different and they fluctuate. So honestly, it depending on when the kids are getting out, who gets out first, if there's any overlap from April with spring breakers, which they may be. So just keep that in mind if you're traveling in May. June! June is the start of summer, but it's also the start of the busy season, which is peak season, or one of three. So, what you want to do is in June is try going as early as you can. If your kids just happen to get out of school, it's great. Take them on their, give them a little tidbit of, summer fun in the first couple of weeks, because after that things start getting crazy because you also have, graduation grand nights, if they still do that at Disney World. I'm not sure. You also have, parents are like, taking kids before the major crowds start coming. And you also have the ending of Star Wars weekends and the start of the summer event, which is a lot of stuff. So try early as you can in June and, just have fun. If you can do during the week, probably would be better for you. Again, 5 nights or whatever, try not to, cram it all in because you're gonna get tired of standing in line and it's not gonna be fun for you or the kids. July. Oh boy, now we're getting into it. July is very busy, especially the first week of July because it's, of course, 4th of July, and you're going to be thanking God that you skipped that first week because I actually been to Disney World during that week. It's insane. I heard that they shut down all of the parks. I know they shut down Epcot. I know they shut down Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom because of overcapacity, and it was insane. So avoid that weekend. You're not gonna do yourself any favors because it's going to be like 2 hours plus for rides, and you're gonna be hot, and it's just really, you're gonna look at yourself in the mirror and say, why did I choose to spend my hard-earned cash on this weekend? On this week, I should say. Rest of July pretty much suits because everyone is trying to go on a vacation in July. July is very vacation heavy with, people because they're trying to, I don't know how to say this, but they're trying to, just get the big vacation out of the way so they can do like small vacation before the kids really have to go start, settling down and before they go back to school. So, um July is not a good month to go at all. Avoid it. Avoid it like the plague. You're going to do yourself a huge favor because you're gonna be happy that you're not listening to screaming kids or anything like that. Now, contrary to the belief, because several websites say towards the middle of August, it's the start of the fall value season, which is far from the truth. Because while Florida students may be back in school, or some Florida students may be back in school, about 75% of the other states won't go back until Labor Day. So, a lot of parents are going to try to squeeze in that one last bit of summer vacation fun before they really have to start settling back down into, school and all that. So, if you're trying to go in August, don't, I honestly, unless you're trying, if you have kids, go last week of August may not be as busy because that's when things are starting to slow down a bit. It's not going to be like July, but it's going to still be busy and you're still going to be waiting a lot. But that's just my personal opinion. So it really all depends on what time, when you go in August. One week may be busy, one week may not be, and it's a whole flux month because, all the kids, it's depend on when all of the kids go back to school. You also have to put in matters that, um, while your kids may be back at school, other kids may not be back in school. So if parents are like thinking, oh, well, we'll just go to Disney World, if we skip the first couple of weeks, because that's what some parents do. They, especially if it's a short 3-day week, which a lot of schools do have, they may just, say, yeah, you know what, let's go, let's put one last family vacation in, because before we really have to buckle down. But every other parent is gonna have that thought in their mind. So August, unless you have kids, do not even bother. It's just a warning because you may think, oh well, August is the end of summer for a lot of kids. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. Now September. September does bring a lot of change. After Labor Day weekend, and well, after Labor Day week, things really start slowing down because the same with August. Some parents may just want to take their kids on the last time vacation. So they, because if especially like if they start like day after Labor Day, and they mean like, yeah, It's 4 days. It's fine, especially if it's the beginning of the school year. So they're gonna have that thought in their head, and it's also cheaper for them to go because it's the start of the valley season. Though around that time, Disney may bump up the prices a little bit, just to create some influx. But you can experience a lot of things in September. Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. The fall decorations go up, I believe, a couple of days after, even before Labor Day, they go up. And I don't know, I guess it's all depending on when Labor Day is or all that. So, if you want to, see all the, Disney Halloween merchandise and all that, good time to, to go. But but after Labor Day week, it starts slowing down immensely. With, the kids not in school, you don't really have that much tourists coming to and from because, you know, they're, starting school as well. So it's a whole different ball game to what the last 3 months were. But there is food and wine. Food and wine starts the last weekend in September. So if you want to avoid the crowd at Epcot, go during the week. So you're not, dealing with the crowds because a lot of people are going to be going to Epcot during the weekend. Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, and Animal Kingdom may not see a increase of tourists at that time. So it's a great time of year to go. Now, October. October is when things start picking up again. The first week, first couple of days up until the Thursday of the second Thursday of October. That's what I was trying to think. That's when things starts getting a little wonky. A lot of times schools, or at least the schools I've been to, they put a non-school day on that Friday, so it's a 4-day weekend instead of a 3-day weekend. So they have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday off. So, avoid that week. And I have also heard that some schools down south do have a week or a couple of days off as well during that time frame. So I would say avoid the weekend of Columbus Day, probably that whole week after, of Columbus Day. And then you have the last 2 weeks. And the last 2 weeks brings in crowds because of Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party. Especially Halloween weekend. And Halloween weekend, you're just going to see a sea of people. So, if you are going to do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, and if you're trying to do, do a small vacation or what have you, do Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party on a weekday, not towards the weekend, but like right in the middle. I know they have in October they have like half of the month, most of the month, for the parties. So avoid doing the weekend parties, do weekday parties. If there's a party on Columbus Day, do not go. If there's a party the day before it, that Sunday night, do not go. avoid Halloween week because that's when things are going to get crazy. Because you also have food and wine to deal with, and people are not just going to Epcot, but they are, but so things do get a lot crazier in October. But there's also one little factor that you have to put in. That's the weather. October is, from what they have said in the past, the worst time to go because it's the last month of the hurricane season. That's when hurricanes are really active. We've been lucky in the past few years, thank God. But if you don't want to take that chances, then try going in September. You're not gonna have as much crowds for Mickey's Not So Scary, and lighter crowds. That lighter crowds and all that. So you're going to be um. So October is very a influx month. Um, the first couple of days may not be busy, but then after Columbus Day, it's gonna start getting really busy again. So avoid the latter half of October if you can, unless you're just doing it, going for a couple of days, like during the week, for making stuff scary. And then by all means do that. Out with Halloween and into Christmas is November. November is kind of slow to begin with. Of course, the last, after a couple days after Halloween, there's still going to be some like indigestion within the parks. So try waiting, putting it off for a couple of days, and then you're pretty much at that time you have the Christmas decorations start going up. And also, towards the middle of the month, you also have Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party, which is always a big seller. And also, I believe all of the other parks will start putting up their Christmas decorations as well. So the parks really do get more involved with Christmas as more involved with Christmas than Halloween. So if you want to try to see like all the Christmas lights without the swarm of people, do it early in November. Avoid if Veterans Day happen to fall on a Monday, avoid that time because that's gonna be a long weekend, and avoid Thanksgiving week. I honestly don't need to tell you why, because the crowd's gonna be crazy. Also, that's pretty much their kickoff to Christmas, so everyone's gonna be like in the Christmas mood at that point. So November, very busy time towards the end of the month, and then things start getting quiet again, or do they? At long last, we come to December, the merriest of months, at least for Disney, because this is the time of year when things are nice and bright, colorful, weather's kind of cooled down. Everyone just take a deep breath in after Thanksgiving, finishing up that turkey, and then it happens. Before you know it, it's the week before Christmas, and the week before Christmas, Christmas week, and New Year's week, all the way up until the couple of days into the new year, are packed. It's, from what I heard, it's insane. It's ludicrous and it's crazy because all the parks are having all their, holiday stuff at this time. So, of course, everywhere's going to be packed. all the parents are gonna be like, "Oh, this will be great. Well, take our kids there for Christmas, and this will be their Christmas present." And they regret it soon after. So, rule of thumb: if you're going in December, do it as early as you can, but not too. If not, am I trying to think? Do it as early as you can, so that you can experience the magical of Christmas a little bit early, and then don't even double guess with yourself saying, should I do it on Christmas? Should I do it when the kids are out? No. No, 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 no. Do not do that to yourself, because you're obviously going to regret it soon after. No. Because Christmas, of course, Christmas Day you have the parade, and then New Year's, it's from what I heard, it is insane. So December first 2 weeks good, then you're just asking for it. So that's pretty much all I have to tell you guys, is that if I'm wrong about certain things, you're more than welcome to scream at me in the comments. I don't care. But other than that, if you think that you can handle the crowds and, wouldn't mind standing in line, by all means go during the busy month if that's your only available option. But if you have a little bit more of a flexibility in your schedule, then try going, during the times where you may not think about. There's always stuff happening at Disney, and there's always going to be crowds, but sometimes crowds are going to be minimal, and sometimes it's going to be crazy. So that's all I have for you for right now. So until next time, see you, my lovelies.